All right, so this week's episode, we are in Alamogordo. Alamogordo was a slight letdown only because we were there during the government shutdown and we missed White Sands, which was our big reason for going to Alamogordo.
I've always wanted to go to White Sands.
Yeah.
Always.
We got to pull off on the side of the highway as everybody was doing and walk up the embankment a little bit to the fence to peer over it. We honestly abided by the law and we did not cross the fence into the national park. I flew my drone, but I flew it straight up and got a view of the park like you'll see it, but I didn't go into the park with my drone. So we got to see the White Sands, but we didn't go into the actual park and get to tromp around on the dunes. That would have been kind of fun. We missed that, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, there were thousands of footprints going into the sand over the fence, and plenty of people just walked right past us, like, who cares? But we weren't feeling very good about that, as we had read quite a few articles about Joshua Tree and other parks being maybe not maintained as well as we would have hoped, and so we did not want to participate in causing more work for our park service. So
we don't want to be rule breakers. We want to abide by the law.
We're kind of rule followers.
Fear the law. So anyway, we stopped there on the way down to see White Sands Missile Range, which was pretty cool. That was a museum actually on the base. It took us like 10 minutes to even get cleared to go in.
Oh yeah, just to get cleared.
Which was interesting. You don't just pull on and go to the museum. You pull into the regular base gate, and you have to get out, and they take your license and everything. And I don't think they took my vehicle registration, but
sheets of paper that they notarized on the spot to see who we were. It was all
official documents. I think I'm sure they cleared me like lickety split. They found her background and her Irish heritage, and they're probably like, ah, she's, so they had to dig through and find all the criminals and the family
from 1,000 or 2,000 years ago.
Great. So anyway, White Sands Missile Range Museum was pretty cool. It was probably a pretty quick visit because it was chilly and windy, of course, as it is this time of year, and we were kind of running around doing our quick sightseeing.
Well, it was a drive out there from where we were camped.
Oh, like an hour.
So
yeah, it's an hour from Alamogordo.
We still have dogs back in the RV when we go see stuff, so we have to be mindful about how many hours we spend away, and that was a big drive.
We're at the White Sands Missile Museum. We had to check in to get on the base to get here, so we weren't even sure if we were going to be able to get in, but we did. They let us in, even after checking Jen's ID, which kind of surprises me.
Really?
Yeah.
Squeaky clean.
Oh, I don't know about that. Anyway, so we're going to go in and check out the museum. We can film here as long as we don't film various bits of the base, meaning the entry portal. So we won't do that, hopefully. So let's check it out.
The steel guitars no longer cry. You can't hear fiddle play. Drums and rock and roll guitars turned up in your face. Old Hank wouldn't have a chance on today's radio since they committed murder down on Music Road.
was a pretty neat display, that V2 rocket. In Germany, the Americans, or the Allies in general, found the rocket factory that was building those, and Werner von Braun was the chief engineer to build that rocket for Germany, and he and a bunch of his engineers defected or surrendered to the Allies and to the United States specifically. Before the war ended, he thought that they would be treated best by surrendering to the United States. And anyway, so they were secretly brought over here with a bunch of the rocket parts from the V2 factory, and they assisted United States scientists in reassembling that rocket and testing it. And that V2 rocket really gave birth to our defense with rockets, as well as our space agency, to be able to launch equipment like that. So it's a pretty neat story. So this was probably the first time we realized that we were taking too much time in the morning on a Saturday before going and sightseeing, because we went all the way an hour away, and actually we had to go even further to get fuel, because we went down the road with not enough fuel. So we had to go another 25 minutes into town to the south to get fuel before we had to turn around and rush back up to the New Mexico Museum of Space History. I think that's what it's called.
We wanted to pop in, yeah.
Yeah, so we wanted to see that on Saturday as well. So that was when we figured out we should probably get going a little bit sooner on Saturday mornings than sitting around with our coffees and reading up on the news. So, but anyway, that museum was cool. That was another quick visit, but we enjoyed it. We got to play around, as you see Jen and I dressing up, having fun with astronaut time.
We like costumes.
It's always fun to dress up. We enjoyed that. We got to walk around outside and play the little whisper game, in which I realized we were doing backwards.
Doing wrong, and that was kind of embarrassing. We had an audience at the time, and so then we discovered we were doing it wrong. So
yeah, so you ever swing by there, talk into the dish, not away from the dish.
At your person across the way.
We are at the Whispering Dish, and we're whispering to our children, who happen to be way down there. Let's see if the camera can hear you. Go ahead. Can you hear Sedona? Hi. Sedona smells.
This is so weird.
You heard that? Yeah. It did occur to us that they were doing this backwards. We should have been speaking into the dish. You would think as an RF engineer I wouldn't know that. So we're doing it the right way, and now it's much, much louder. All right, Sedona, say something. Oh, that's creepy. That's creepy. It's a Skylab toilet, and Harley and I are trying to figure out how you use it. So I think maybe it's for this. You know, it might be a little short. But Harley thinks maybe it's for this. We don't know. Maybe comment below and let us know if you know. Okay, we got the word from the authorities. We asked somebody, and he explained it to us. So it really is a sit and hold the handles. So you can actually strap yourself down. There's little hooks here, so you can check on your Facebook feed while you're up in space doing this. But it really is vertical, so you would be looking at the ground or at the floor while you're doing this. There is a cup for the frontal area of the male astronauts, and yeah, you would just sit on this facing down at the floor and strap yourself in, check your Instagram, and there'd be a suction that helps keep things from, shall we say, escaping. So that's how the Skylab toilet works. That's pretty cool. There's no gravity, so you're just kind of planted wherever you are. You just get on that thing.
I wouldn't have to stand on my toes.
Yeah.
Because at this point,
right, no, you just swim yourself into position.
Doesn't fit.
Look at the, bring it in closer.
It's only for number 2, right?
Look at the cheeks. Like, do you think there was a cheek model that they decided was the average adult bottom to create that suction? Because you know there's a lot of suction going on there.
It says it has separate systems for solid and liquid.
Yeah,
I know that you
liquid
guys
system.
can use the...
That's the liquid system. The cup's missing. Somebody needed it for a glass of water.
But we... How would I go potty there?
You need to take an anatomy class again, maybe. There's suction going on. Whatever you do there is.
Oh.
Yeah, you can't miss. That was a bit. So the bathroom cleaners on the Skylab had an easy life because they never had to clean up around here. Like there's no splashes, no trickles, no dribbles,
That's a little too
no
far.
dots. So they didn't have to worry about that. Suction. That's what we need is we need suction on the RV.
Maybe it'll suck some people out of the RV.
So my dad's ancestors, right out Petunia, and Uncle Mike, right there and right there. They went into space.
We also got a treat at the KOA. I've been calling them the Alamogordo Singers, but they were really a group of people that would show up in the KOA and just play. You know, they would play twice a week. We met Ann, Luther, and Roy from a group called Countrified. They play locally. And then there are, of course, a bunch of other people that come in on a regular basis and just stop through and play with them. So we had really enjoyed that treat, and a lot of the music you hear in this video is actually their music that we recorded that night with their approval. So Ann, Luther, Roy, and the rest of the gang, thanks so much. We had a blast meeting you guys, and we really appreciated being able to sit in on your jam session. That was awesome.
In a long black veil, she visits my grave when the night wind wails. Nobody knows, nobody sees, nobody knows but me.
The kids and I took an afternoon and ran down to the Alameda Zoo, which was 2 miles from our campsite at the most, and we actually had a lot of fun. We were a little surprised because it is a smaller zoo. It's not like your San Antonio or Denver, you know, certainly not like the National Zoo size, but kind of the smallness was the fun part of it, and we got up pretty close to a lot of animals, and they have a ton of raptors that they've rescued on site. So as being birds of prey fans that we are, we really enjoyed that. We come to find out after the fact that one of his best friends back home's uncle runs the whole zoo and could have given us a behind the scenes tour.
Yeah. That's
so
on
now
you,
I'm
Nate.
really disappointed that we didn't get that. The kids love animals, and I almost went into wildlife biology at one point, so that would have been totally up our alley. So now every time the kids and I might pop in somewhere, I say, Trav, text Nathan, just in case he knows someone who
Right.
runs this place.
You never know.
You never know.
So I didn't get to see it, but from the pictures and video that I saw, it does look cool. So don't skip it. If you're in Alamogordo, then go check out the little zoo. It's right on Main Street, right in the
on
middle
Main
of everything.
Street, and
You
super
almost drive by it.
affordable. I think the 3 of us was like $7.50. I mean, are you kidding? Like, who doesn't go to a zoo for $7.50? No brainer.
Right.
So the kids and I left the campground today to travel all of 1 mile to go to the Alameda Park Zoo. We think it's going to be quite small, but we love monkeys, and we were driving down White Sands Boulevard a couple days ago, and we noticed the monkeys hanging out in the side of the road, really in a building. So we're gonna go check it out and take a break from all the chores we caught up on this week, like laundry, lots of laundry. Hi. Oh my gosh, you're so cute. You're so cute.
Oh, he looks grumpy. Oh, oh my goodness. The babies are getting right. They're so
my
cute.
God, look at
Oh,
this
look at that
one.
one.
So cute.
Oh, into the hole.
So the weather has taken a turn for the chilly and the windy, but we just got done looking at all the exhibits at the Alameda Park Zoo, and I think for all of us. It's a 2 thumbs up. It's bigger than we thought, and for the price, I think I spent $7 to get all of us in, and well worth it. We fed ducks, and all of the raptors we found out that are here were injured at some point. So what else? There's capuchin monkeys behind me, which we kind of love, and which got our attention the other day on our way down White Sands Boulevard, which is right out there. So overall, I'd say come. Well worth the money, and they do some pretty good things here with rehabilitating injured wildlife. So well worth a visit if you're anywhere near White Sands. Yeah, so I mean, one of the things we find while traveling, which I don't think comes up very often in other videos, is how expensive a lot of these tours and things you can do all
Right.
over are. And so when we get to a place and we find out, oh wait, they have this really cool thing we want to see, wow, it's $150 for a family of 4 to go in. We can't do that.
That adds
It's not
up fast.
maintainable.
Right.
Yeah. So $7.50, count me in.
Yep. We also met our next door neighbor Dave in that same park. Dave's got a YouTube channel called Dave's Corner of the World. This guy, I was sitting down one morning when we first pulled in, probably Monday morning I guess, and I was watching Dave out the window while I was working, and Dave's out there cooking with a wood burning fuel stove, and he just looked like the kind of guy that was a tinkerer. So I was intrigued and I wanted to talk to him. So we kind of met up with him and got some stories from him, and he explained how he had his channel and what he's been doing for the last 15 years, did he say? Living on an RV.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was 5. Anyway, he's had an RV for 15 years. Sorry if I screwed that up, Dave. But anyway, Dave was an intriguing guy, and he turned us on to a tornado. It was a German army or German military military jet called a Tornado that Germany had donated to Alamogordo. The history goes way back between the United States and Germany, back to World War II, when we had basically captured the German scientists that worked on the V2 rocket program and secretly brought them over here to work on our rocket program, missiles, rockets, and ultimately our space program. So the reason I bring that up is because of this history. Germany had donated this Tornado to Alamogordo, and Dave mentioned that we might want to go down and see it, that they were bringing the jet right down the middle of the highway to bring it into Alamogordo from the White Sands base, and they were towing it right down the middle of the road. So we went down and filmed that. That was pretty cool, and that was headed up to the New Mexico Museum of Space and History. So we went down and checked that out, and saw a jet going down the highway. That's not something you see very often. So thanks, Dave, for that tip. And if you guys want to go get some good RV tips, go check out Dave's channel, Dave's Corner of the World.
And make sure you ask for his peanut butter chocolate chip recipe.
Yes, Dave made us some killer peanut butter
Yes.
cookies, and they were great, which actually inspired Sedona to reciprocate with her own plate of peanut butter cookies, and I think Dave enjoyed those as well. So that was a lot of fun. We had fun in Alamogordo. It was kind of rushed. I think our little day of sightseeing was too compressed. I wish we would have expanded it a little bit, slowed down, but we had a lot of fun before we moved on.
Yeah, and I think about that time in our second leg, we call it, our trips.
Yep.
As we loop back to Colorado, we're counting them as legs. I think what I enjoyed about Alamogordo was kind of because stuff was closed, and it had been. We were at Carlsbad before, right?
Yeah.
Not after, and that
Right.
was closed too. So we're having to get a little more creative in how to use the time in those places wisely. And honestly, when Trav came over to the RV, he's like, "There's some guys, and they're playing bluegrass over in the, community room."
The KOA
at
singers.
the KOA. I was like, huh, all right, well, I guess we'll pop in because that's nice. And it was really, really, I mean, I can't even express how much I enjoyed it. I think even just sitting in the room and seeing all the gentlemen and one lady, well, there's 2 ladies the second time, but just the history in that room and all the stories that are these people have experienced over their lives. I mean, a lot of them were in their 70s.
Yeah.
And maybe some more. And a couple of them had, you know, hats that they were, it had support,
where they're stationed in the military, the military services.
Their services, and for some reason it was just a really emotional kind of moment to understand how all of us humans have such stories behind us and such experiences that can be vastly different. And it was really the point that I began to look at how the travel was affecting my perspective on the world and what I thought was kind of right and wrong and we should or shouldn't. So that was actually really fun going to see them.
That was a good experience. It was something simple, and oh, by the way, there's, you know, people playing music over there, but I think we got a lot more out of it than we thought we would. So that was pretty cool. And the kids came over with us and listened in. So we actually went twice that week.
Twice, yeah, because it was so fun. And I do want to add, at the Missile Range Museum, frankly, I was kind of bored because it's not my cup of tea. It's more Travis stuff that he likes to do. But when we were at the back of the museum, there was a whole table of stacks of books, like notebooks this thick, that included the names of and background kind of information about all of the soldiers that had been killed in Vietnam, whose names were on the National Memorial wall, Vietnam Memorial, and kind of like how old they were and where they came from. And they were all in counties in New Mexico, but it was really cool and moving to see, put faces to the names. I've been to the National Vietnam Memorial before. You have too. We went. Yeah. And you know, it's an emotional visit anyway. But now I have faces to go with some of these names, and
crazy how many pages were in those books, and
so many
that
pages.
was just people from
that
servicemen
county
from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, lots of interesting things happen when you don't quite have a plan.
Yeah, exactly. Now that we've been traveling for coming up on 6 months, we're starting to learn the good things and the bad things of RV life, full-time living on an RV. Things that we really like and the things that are kind of getting frustrating at this point, and there are those things. But now that we're getting to that point, we're definitely going to start adding those into our videos. So this channel is going to become more about what it's like to be on an RV. I think a lot of you guys have been expecting that, and we want to give that to you. But now we have an information or pool of information that we can pull from to fill you in on what it's like to live every day and every week and everything, and the trials and tribulations of doing it compared to just living in a sticks and bricks back at home. So definitely look forward to that in the channel. We're going to start adding those things in, and I have a few RV hacks and mods coming up that we're going to include in our videos as well. I want to keep doing those because those are things I like to do and I like to share. So
and that good old RV tour.
An RV tour. We still owe you an RV tour, and we will do that. Honestly, what we're waiting for is the right setup place that we're camping in to do that. That's quiet, because to be honest, we don't want to do an RV tour out in front of the rest of the RV park because we're not those people. And that's not to say anything bad about those people. We're not brave enough.
We're kind of shy.
That's right. We like to find our own little quiet place to record things. So anyway, all of that coming up on Oh the Places Will Roll. And if you guys like this video, please do us a favor. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe, make sure you comment below, and follow us on all the social media outlets that you can find. Oh the Places Will Roll. We have ohtheplaceswillroll.com, the blog, and if you want to, please visit us at patreon.com/ohtheplaceswillroll and consider becoming a member. There's extra video footage we put up there and a little bit of extra goodies that we give our patrons for helping support the show. So that should do it. I appreciate you guys watching.
And share.
And share.
If you like, share.
Share our video.
Yeah.
Grow our subscribers. Get us to that 1,000 subscriber point where we can actually start advertising, because that's what makes us keep going, honestly. Someday, when we can start advertising. Please, help. Alright, so here's a little tip. I was just emptying my gray tanks and my black tanks, and I noticed that my handles, these guys, up under there,
were loose. The screws were loose and just about ready to fall off. So one thing you might want to do when you get into RVing for the first time is go ahead and put some Loctite. This is Loctite Red, which is pretty strong stuff. Put those on the screws, or put that on the screws, and then make sure that you keep those handles in, because that could be a big issue when it comes time to dump your tanks. And while I'm at it, I'm going to go do the other handle just in case. Yeah, I came back to do the rear tank handle and found out it is already loose. So it's actually really good timing to go ahead and replace these. About a week or two after I recorded the video of tightening the handles, I went to use one of my gray tank or black tank, and the handle just disintegrated in my hand. So then I had to go out and find replacement handles, but nowhere online could I find the plastic handles that came with my unit. That seems to be kind of a big issue. So I took a chance and ordered these metal handles. They're really like pot metal, I guess, or cast. But I ordered these off of Amazon, and I replaced my handles with these. It takes a little bit of work because you have to drill them out, and then you can reuse the screw that comes with your regular handles. But if you have these kind of handles that have the hole in them, all you have to do is buy these from Amazon or your local RV parts store and go ahead and drill them, and then they go right on. And then remember to use that Loctite so that they don't back out and fall off on you, because when you get to your site and you don't have a way to dump your tanks, it's a little bit frustrating. Then you have to pull out the pliers, and then you're kind of damaging your bolt or your the hardware that your handle uses. So anyway, these replacements are good, so check them out if you guys have the same problem.